and it's here, the 2019 MacBook Pro 16-inch. I'm actually very excited about this one. So this is Apple's latest and greatest portable laptop, and it basically is unlike the rumors which we've heard, but I'm very excited about the fact that we do get a slightly larger display, more power, better speakers, just in every way supposedly it is better. So it's not the upgrade we were hoping for with complete edge-to-edge bezels, but it still does look a little bit more sleek. I love the new wallpapers that they released alongside them too. Great way to showcase that display, which unfortunately still doesn't have IPS. So I have the 2018 mid-refresh MacBook Pro, and when I got that one, then Apple came out in January with the 8-core version, and I felt a little burned. So I'm glad I didn't upgrade to the 8-core in January. These refreshes seem to be coming faster and faster on the MacBook Pros. So the great thing about this one is that it's not much larger, but oh wow. So it's about 0.3 pounds heavier, and I can definitely feel the heft. It doesn't have much of a larger footprint, but it certainly is a little bit bigger. 0.03 inches thicker. So that's the new one and the old one. So yeah, the footprint is a little bit larger, but not terribly so. The surprising thing is the screen is only 4% larger. So the display sits 0.28 inches higher. It's not considerably larger, but it certainly is there. So let me set this up real quick. I'll get into all those changes. All right, so I've set it up with my applications, the basics, and I gotta tell you, it does feel a little heftier. So the display right here, you do have less bezel. On the top, it's still, not very pleasing to look at compared to the Dell XPS, but I'm still grateful for a larger display. It does feel considerably larger. It's only 4% larger, but even in something like Final Cut, you have a little bit more padding room. It just feels a little bit nicer to have that little bit of space. And of course, with a larger computer, you get upgrades in other areas like a bigger battery, now 100 watt hours, which is the biggest that the FAA will actually let you take on an airplane. And the battery life is about an hour better, I believe. And as for display, it's slightly sharper here with a 226 pixel per inch density with a 3072 by 1920 display resolution. Otherwise, in terms of colors, I can't really notice a difference. It's capable of 500 nits brightness. Both still look fantastic. Display alone, quality-wise, I would not say is worth the upgrade. And the size, it's just not that big of a difference. Still, it's the biggest laptop that you can get from Apple right now, and I will appreciate that using Photoshop, editing, and Final Cut and whatnot. And then of course we have the new keyboards. So they stick out significantly. There's more space in between the actual keys. You now have this inverted T, up and sideways arrows instead of them all being crammed into one area here. You also have a dedicated escape key, which is nice to have. That was one of the biggest complaints apparently on the last generation besides the keyboard itself. So Apple has went back to a scissor switch mechanism. iFixit has confirmed that, and it's a lot more satisfying. It feels like my 2015 MacBook Pro, which I did adore. So you have more travel room, and it seems like maybe a little bit quieter, but it definitely does have more of a satisfying response. And that here was, I believe, the biggest complaint with this series, aside from like the thermal throttling. Regarding that, Apple has actually made this thing more efficient, 28% more airflow, 35% larger heatsink area. So as far as thermals go, we'll test that out here, but Apple says that has been resolved. And of course, you'd want that to be fixed with an 8-core processor in here. It's got the latest 9th generation Intel i8. This one is the base model, so I don't have the top spec here. It's just the 6-core, 2.6 gigahertz, and we'll do a benchmark compared to my 6-core over here, but it is an i9. So testing the thermals, getting 111, 114, 115, 116. Man, that is hot. And on the new one, same spot, 112. So definitely cooler. I mean, it's still pretty scorching, but I guess they were not lying when they said that the thermals were improved here. And the Geekbench score surprised me. Wow. So this was $4,500 when I bought it in 2018 with the 6-core, which was the maxed out processor at the time. And I get a lower multi-core score than the entry level on the 2019 MacBook Pro. So there's progress for you. This was only $2,400. So $2,000 less in just 1 year, and you're getting this kind of performance. That's amazing. So I can't wait to see what happens in the future when Apple switches to their ARM processors, but That's seriously surprising. Of course, the bigger the processor, the lower the clock speed will go, but you'll be able to do multi-threaded applications more efficiently. And also very interesting to note is that this is the first MacBook ever to include a variable refresh rate display. It allows you to change the hertz to match the video resolution in your video editing workflow. So if that's important to you, it's interesting to know. And unfortunately, it's 2019 and we still have a 720p recording situation here on the MacBook Pro. So no improvement in quality, but Apple did improve the microphones. They now have a 3 microphone array. And I want to see in this video, just test that out, see does it really sound better. And if I step back from the laptop, what am I going to hear? It's going to sound better on the 2019 MacBook Pro, which I've heard that it's quite impressive actually. So next up is speakers. One thing that I've always loved about the MacBook Pro is the speaker game is on point. It gets better this time around. Okay, so playing Ghali's latest hit on this MacBook, then switching to this one. Oh wow, definitely more rich. Wow. So this is more of a booming bassy sound. This one is a little bit higher pitch, not as deep or rich. So I definitely do notice a difference. It's this one. Yeah, it's a little more shrill. And I've loved the speaker quality here. This just takes it to another level, more depth to your music. Wow, yeah, for real. That's amazing. So there's 2 subwoofers, 1 on each side, 6 speakers, all in all, an impressive system. Apple's always been killing it with the speakers here, and the MacBook Pro, new one, is no exception. Just for the kicks, so I've got a 26-minute video here, 4K, 30 frames per second, and it's the same on both. So last year's i9 6-core versus this year's i7 6-core, and we're off. Just want to see how long it takes, how they compare. So far in the Geekbench though, this computer is faster than my old one, even at half the price. And just like that, the 2018 MacBook Pro beat out the 2019. Obviously this one was better spec'd back in the day, but with a higher Geekbench score, it still fell behind. Not by much though, it should be finishing up here shortly. Still very impressive performance you're getting for $2,400. You're getting a gorgeous display to go alongside with it, only 23 seconds behind this one. And of course you have that new and updated keyboard, which is much improved, how it should have been from the beginning. You get better speakers, better microphones, and better battery life. It's a really great value all in all. I'm actually editing this video on the 16-inch MacBook Pro just to see, and in Final Cut, it was a pleasure. You know, no stuttering, no lag, latest version. I was very satisfied with that. The screen space, just a little bit more. It does make a little bit more difference. Like I said, you have a little bit more space for all your controls. The one thing that I would recommend with this laptop is go for the 32 gigabyte option when it comes to RAM. I came to that roof pretty close with 12 gigabytes consumed, and if I had a couple more apps running in the background, I'd be out of memory. So I do recommend that you opt for the 32 gigabyte option, even though this RAM is faster now at 2666 megahertz versus 2400 last year. I'd still go for an additional upgrade there. Overall though, the value is fantastic. 512 gigabytes solid state storage coming with this laptop. I think it's the best value for an entry-level MacBook Pro ever. All right, so there it is, the 2019 MacBook Pro. It's not the update we were expecting, not as futuristic, and my biggest complaint has to be the fact that it's still using Wi-Fi 5. It doesn't have the new Wi-Fi 6 standard, so I can't take advantage of those speeds on my router, and the 720p camera, but otherwise it's a really good value. You're getting better bang for the buck, better battery life, better speakers, a better, bigger display here, and of course the upgraded keyboard. So if you don't have a 2018, 2017 MacBook Pro, now's a good time to jump in, as this will be pretty current for a good amount of time. I would not be surprised if Apple comes out and fixes those things with the camera and the Wi-Fi in the span of what, like 6 to 8 months. But overall, a great and solid upgrade. I'll be maxing one out for myself personally. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more. Peace.